Hello and welcome back to my channel. Can you believe it's October? Where has the year gone? I don't know. I don't know. It's just flown in. And we are 11 months in the house already. I know, I know. So if you are following since we first moved in or even from before that, thank you very much for following. I always appreciate the support and anybody who takes the time to watch the videos. So thank you very much for that. Um October always gets me thinking. It's it's a nice time of the year. I like October because I always find from the spring, really from March all the way through to October, it's just go, 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 go. You never stop. Like you're sowing your seeds, you're keeping them alive, you're making sure they germinate, you're keeping them safe from slugs, then you're planting everything out, you're bottling to stop the weeds taking over. And then once everything is fine and it's grown away, before you know it, you're into harvest season and all your time is spent trying to harvest, trying to use up all your produce, if it's sharing it with people, if it's preserving it, whatever you do with it. So it's a really, really, really busy couple of months. And it's still not over this time of the year because now your focus has gone on to things like preparing for the winter ahead. So like I cleared all the tomato plants out of the polytunnel last weekend. Some people are out clearing their beds, mulching them. Some people are taking in pots of like tender plants that they don't want out over the winter, and all little bits and pieces and jobs like that. So we're still not done yet, but we are facing into the kind of the lull, the few quiet months over the winter. Now, by no means like is it that you don't do anything gardening wise. It actually can be quite a productive time of the year. If you're like me, you love sitting back and looking over all your notes of how things did last year and planning how you can do things a bit different to be more successful, or what worked, how you can replicate that so it works again for you next year. Or if like me you've got a polytunnel full of flower seeds that are starting to germinate for next year, you're going to have to be keeping an eye on them over the winter. So there's still always jobs to do. Gardener's work is never done, but we are definitely slowing down this time of year. And I actually thought it would be a really good time to tell you how we've got on with RoboChop. Not the official name. The official name is the Gardena Sileno Life Robot Lawnmower, but we've come to call it RoboChop, and for some reason we refer to it as him. We look out the window and go, there he is off now around the garden. Don't ask me why. I don't know, but it's just the way it's worked out. So I thought it would be a really good time to recap on how we found the lawnmower, and I have to tell you, would not be without it. So there's actually quite a lot to love about these lawnmowers. Um, Initially, when Gardena approached me and said they'd be interested in us taking one and trying it out and let them know what we thought, it had kind of come at a good time because myself and David were kind of at odds about whether we would actually have a lawn. And he had kind of started this section of grass. So this section of grass, I don't know if you'll remember, if you've watched my first video, I'll link it below. All of our garden was like the height of the grass that's here behind me. And David just really wanted to patch a lawn. So he got in and he had to go in with the strimmer, trim it down a couple of times. And then he was trying to go over it with the lawnmower to get it down. And I was saying to him, like, is it worth the amount of effort you're putting in? Because it wasn't so much the actual cutting of it, it was having to pick up all of the grass, bring it down. Our compost bays where we dump the grass are down behind the polytunnel. It's on quite a slope. So it was a lot of physical work for him to actually mow all this, get rid of the grass clippings. And it was taking a really, really long time to do as well. And obviously, like, the two of us both work full time, and then we're trying to get all the bits done with the farm, and we just didn't have the time required to put into the lawn care, to be honest with you. So when Gardena approached me, I was like, this couldn't be coming at a better time. So absolutely yes, I nearly shook the hand off them to have the opportunity to try it. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about robot lawnmowers, but there was part of me that was kind of going, mm, are they a bit of a gimmick? Like, I'll be honest about that. And I think a lot of people probably think that initially as well when they hear about them. But I have to say, it is literally one of the best things that's ever happened to us, and I don't say that lightly. It's just brilliant. It's given us back something you can't buy. It's given us back time. Uh, the lawnmower is set up on a schedule, so I'm not entirely sure what the schedule is because David has the app on his phone and it's kind of his baby now. The lawn was his baby from the beginning, and he has the robot lawnmower set up to the schedule that suits him. So I think it goes out like 5 days a week. Um and that seems to be enough. Now, at the minute, we had it turned off for the last few days because we thought with it coming into October and the grass growth slowing down that it wouldn't need as many days. But it's actually getting really hot this week, so I had to put it back on again today. And it's just one of those things like anything in your garden. There's never a set point that you'll say, okay, my last grass cut is going to be on such and such a date. It just depends on the weather. And again, today is freakishly warm for this time of the year. I think it's up near 20 degrees. I know it doesn't look it, but it's actually very, very hot today. So that's the nice thing about the robot lawnmower is you're not looking out the window going, God, that grass is after jumping up out of it and I need to get the last dry day to get in and get the last cut done. You just go on your phone, you just program it in and it starts, you let it run, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about whether the grass is wet. You don't have to worry about whether it's raining. You can just set it off to do its job. And it's just the convenience of it and the time that it gives you back. Honestly, you cannot buy them two things. And those for me are the biggest selling points of the robot lawnmower. Another thing that I really love about the Gardena Sileno Life robotic lawnmower is how quiet it is. Um, I know it's like that quintessential sound of summer sometimes where you hear the petrol lawnmowers going around the gardens, but like sometimes you don't want to hear that. And I know people will say, oh, you probably don't have much to worry about. But sometimes you just want to sit out in your back garden or have a barbecue with friends over and you don't want to have to worry about the sound of a lawnmower. So then you're trying to get your grass done in advance before people come over, or you're trying to plan, well, I want to sit out in the garden on Sunday, so I have to try and get out on the Friday evening and get my grass cut. But with the Sileno Life, you can just leave it going. You can do whatever you want in your garden, and really, it'll have little or no impact on you. You won't even notice it's going. Like it's going past me here now, it's cutting away, and the sound is very, very minimal off it. And that is one of the things that I really, really like about it too. So that's all the things that we really like about the Gardena Sileno Life robotic lawnmower. But what are the benefits for your grass? Because obviously the idea is you want to have grass that looks really well. So there's a couple of benefits here. Um, Mainly for me, I think the biggest benefit is the fact that it's mulching the grass every time it cuts it. So if you followed my channel, you'll know that I'm really into the idea of no dig gardening, that you're trying to promote the soil health, that you're not upsetting the soil, and that if you feed the soil, you're going to feed the microbes in the soil, and that results in the healthiest soil possible. Now, there was always this myth about you had to pick up your grass clippings because it caused moss to grow in the grass. That might be the case if you're going around and cutting it like once a week or once every 2 weeks and there's loads of grass sitting on top of it. But the nice thing about the Sileno Life lawnmower is that it's just taking a fraction off the top of the grass. Little and often is the key. And that grass falls back down into the ground. And because it's so small, it composts down quite quickly and it's actually feeding the grass everything that it needs. So it's nearly like your grass is being fed every time it's being cut. And I think you can see like it's really green, it's really lush. There's a strip of grass here over at the edge that we didn't extend the boundary wire to because we're eventually going to be putting sheds in there. It's quite uneven, it needs to be dug out and level, so we left it. David's run across that a few times with the strimmer actually during the year, and the normal lawnmower, the petrol lawnmower. So I'll show you a video of that and you can see how that grass compares to this grass that RoboChop has been looking after. But personally, there's no comparison. This grass is so much lusher, it's so much healthier. Another benefit for your lawn as well is that every time that it's cutting it, it's cutting all the weeds. Now, I'm just looking here while I'm talking to you, and there's quite a lot of weeds in this grass. And if the grass was left unchecked, the weeds would take over. So the nice thing is that every time your grass is being cut, it's cutting back the weeds. It's not letting them get to the stage where they're going to produce seed heads to spread more weeds. So again, that's another benefit for the grass. Also, another little benefit I have to say is this tree here drops quite a lot of leaves this time of the year, and we haven't had to worry about raking them up or anything like that. The lawnmower obviously just cuts them up as it goes over with it, and then like they act as a mulch and they compost down into the ground and put the goodness back into the ground as well. So there's quite a lot of benefits for your lawn with having the robot lawnmower as well. The only thing is my compost base down the end are missing out a little bit because they're not getting the basket of grass into them, but there's no reason that I can't. I've plenty of grass. I could be going with the strimmer to cut a patch there as I need it. But there are some of the benefits that come with the robot lawnmowers as well. So that's a pretty glowing review I've given you so far of the robot lawnmower, and I'm sure people are watching this going, there has to be something that you don't like about it. And honestly, there's nothing that we don't like about it. If I was going to say the only issue we've had is that sometimes it has a tendency to cut the boundary wire. And again, that's not the lawnmower's fault. That's actually the ground around here. So we're on the side of a hill on grass that there's never been anything done before, bar grow grass freely on it. So it's very, very uneven ground and it's very, very thick grass. It grows up in big like tufts from the ground. So as much as we did our best to get the boundary wire pinned down as close to the ground as we could, sometimes just because the grass is so coarse, it's pushing it up in parts. And when it goes to the edge, I don't know if you can see it in the camera here, when it goes to the edge, it hits the boundary wire, which tells it to stop and turn. Sometimes the boundary wire has been lifted up by the grass and it clips it. But the nice thing is when that happens, it stops. And you can go out and David will actually get a notification on his phone to say that there's a boundary wire issue. He can go out, see where the lawnmower has stopped, and then it's just a matter of getting a little joiner to join the wires back together again, and then it goes off, happy as Larry again. Again, that's not the lawnmower's fault. That is just the ground that is here. And it's part and parcel of if you're on this sort of rough ground. But I wouldn't let that turn you off getting one. Like, it's only happened a handful of times. It's just something that I just wanted to point out is that it can happen. Especially like us. Like if you look at the difference between the grass that's not cut and the grass is cut, you'll see that it's very, very coarse. What we've done, we find where we have this purple piece of wood is a particular area, and I don't know if you can see that this goes down. It's a very sharp dip. So what happens is the lawnmower goes down, and as it's coming back up, the grass is kind of pushing the wire up and it's catching it. So what we did was we just put that piece of wood there, and it just stopped it clipping the wire. But I mean, like, if that's the only complaint you have about it, I think we're doing quite well. But apart from that, it's great. And it actually sent a message to David's phone on the app the other day to say that we needed to take it in for the winter. So I contacted Gardena and said, okay, so how do you know when the right time to take it in for the winter is? And they said you absolutely don't have to take it in for the winter. That's message is put there for countries that kind of get a much greater difference in temperature than us. But here, it's fine to leave out all year round. Just reduce the cutting schedule down to maybe 1 day, 2 days a week, because the grass, as you know, slows right down over the winter. So it doesn't need to be cut as often. Again, I just said we had done that, and then this week when it got warm and wet again, that it's just started lapping out of it. So it's going to stay out all winter and keep the lawn looking lovely. And I have to say that we honestly are just delighted with it. Like, couldn't sing its praises enough. It really is brilliant. And as you can see, not an issue with the chickens in the slightest. I know some people worry about it with hedgehogs, and there is a setting you can put it on so that when it runs at times where the hedgehogs won't be out as much, which I think is actually a really nice thing to be considerate of. But I wouldn't worry about hedgehogs or foxes or anything like that, because as you can see, when it comes, the chickens just get out of its way. I would imagine every other creature will do the same thing. So we have had the robotic lawnmower now since mid-June, and it's now October. We have had to cut this grass ourselves once with our petrol lawnmower, and actually, as it turns out, we didn't even need to. So the reason that we took the petrol lawnmower to ourselves was because we went on holidays for 2 weeks. We had 2 weeks of solid rain and heat, and when we came back, the grass had just leapt out of it. We had actually taken the lawnmower in and locked it inside when we were away on our holidays, just purely for a security thing. We really, really, really liked the lawnmower and we didn't want to take it, so we locked it away when we were on our holidays, which in hindsight was a mistake. We should have left it out. And I took a little video at the time and I'll show you now. Okay, so as you can see, it's like he's lost in a bit of a jungle. So what we're going to do is David is going to go over the grass with the petrol lawnmower, and then we'll set RoboChop back because he's been about 10-11 days now of growth, and all it's done is lash rain. And we don't want to burn out his motor because although he's very good, he's not designed for grass this long. So we'll sort the grass tomorrow and then let him run wild again. So really it was a case of that we just loved the lawnmower so much that we didn't want to run the risk of you know, burning out the motor or over stressing it. So David just took the decision. He said, I'll just go over it once with the lawnmower and then I can go and do its thing. Now, I had contacted Gardena and they got back to me and they said, absolutely not. You don't need to go over your lawnmower, or you don't need to go over your lawn with your petrol lawnmower, that the robot lawnmower is more than capable of coping with grass that length. So it actually would have been fine. It was just a case of us being over careful because we love it so much we didn't want to damage it, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's you know, you got to take care of your stuff basically. Like, it is an expensive piece of kit and we don't want to see anything happen to it. We want to get as long as we can out of it. So that's the only time any lawnmower apart from that one has gone near this grass, and that was back at the end of July. So I think all things considered, you can see the grass is doing really, really well, like really well. So there you have it, my full honest review of the Gardena Sileno Life Robotic Lawnmower. Honestly, couldn't say enough good about it. We absolutely love having it. It's taken lawn care, which is a very big, time consuming job, and it's taken that off our hands and it's just given us all the time back. And for that, I cannot thank Gardena enough. So thank you again to Gardena for sponsoring the video and giving us the opportunity to have a robotic lawnmower and giving us the opportunity to take our time and put it into other endeavours. And for that, I can't thank them enough. So thank you very much. If anybody out there has been on the fence or has been thinking about getting a robot lawnmower, I hope this video has answered a few questions for you. As always, if you have any questions or anything you want to ask me, leave them below in the comments. Thank you very, very much for watching and supporting the channel as always. If you want to keep following on and see how we get on with the house, with the flower farm, with everything, with actually extending the lawn, because that'll be the next thing, because the lawnmower has performed so well, we're actually going to extend the size of the lawn. So if you have any questions about anything, leave them in the comments below. If you enjoy watching, make sure you press subscribe. You might even recommend us to somebody you know who might enjoy watching the video. But for now, thank you very much.